I truly enjoy learning how to be better at sales, diving into how to become a better saleswoman has made a huge difference in my life. And today I want to share with you some valuable life lessons I've learned firsthand as a sales girl. And the way I've learned these is, by listening more than I talk, by getting things wrong, by committing myself to having a figure it out mindset. It's been through messy action, just taking the messy action, knowing I don't exactly know what I'm doing, but I'm going to ask the questions and I'm going to keep moving, keep going. By surrounding myself with mentors that know more than I do and that are going to speak truth to me and continuing to show up even when it's hard. I mean, sis, we can do hard things. And the moment you realize that and you just embrace that, it can change everything. It doesn't make things easier, but it definitely, in my experience, has maybe be like, you know what? This girl over here, this gal over there, this gentleman over there, they're all doing hard things. They didn't get where they're at today because it was easy. They just chose to do hard things when it was hard and they kept going.
Hey, y'all, and welcome. You're listening to the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. I'm your host, Dakota Dawn Johnson, small-town cowgirl with Southern roots, blazing a trail as a Midwest ranch wife, mama, and businesswoman. The mission of Cowgirl Confessions is to share the wonderfully wild and Western life stories of cowgirls from all walks of life. We'll talk about the highs, the lows, and everything in between when it comes to navigating careers, cowboys, kids, and cattle. Legendary cowgirl Dale Evans said it best. Cowgirl is a pioneer spirit, a special brand of American courage. The cowgirl faces life head on, lives by her own lights, and makes no excuses. Cowgirls take stands. They speak up. They defend the things they hold dear. A cowgirl might be a rancher, a barrel racer, a bull rider, or an actress, but she's just as likely to be a checker at the local Winn-Dixie, a full-time mother, a banker, an attorney, or an astronaut. If you're into wet saddle blankets, talks with God, buckets full of laughter, and the life lessons learned in the process, kick off your boots and settle in. I pray these stories encourage, empower, and give you just the leg up you need. Here's to embracing the cowgirl state of mind, no matter how wild and Western life may get along the way.
Hi there, and welcome to another episode of the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. Thank you for joining me today. I want to talk to you a little bit about my journey as a sales girl and how that has evolved during my time at Ariat International. A little over 10 years ago, I began my journey at Ariat full time. But prior to that, I had the opportunity to work as contract labor. And this started back in December of 2009. This is really where I first got my foot in the door. I met people within the industry and really learned what it was like behind the scenes. And that while I knew I wanted to be in the Western retail space and industry, it really helped me see like how much hard work it was before I fully committed, to pursuing that as a career. So I started out doing contract work at the National Finals Rodeo in Las Vegas, Nevada. I did that for 3 years. So from 2009 to 2012. So I guess it would have been actually 4 NFRs I worked at. And I would help with the booth setup, work each day, of the rodeo, help with the booth teardown. And then I was still working my normal full-time job outside of Ariat the rest of the year. And then in 2013, that March, I had the opportunity to go to work full-time for Ariat as a field service merchandiser. And so I had that position from March until December of 2013. I learned a tremendous amount about the brand, just our core values, product knowledge. I worked with lots of sales reps as I went and I would service their different accounts, whether I was folding denim or teaching the employees at those different retail locations about our product, about the Ariat story. It was just such an incredible opportunity for me to be like boots on the ground, learning from people that were so far ahead of me and their experience just in the industry in general, in sales, but then also getting to share that story with people that were not familiar with our brand or had a desire to learn more about our brand so they could be better salespeople within their individual retail stores. So that was in, like I said, 2013. And then I had the opportunity to move into a sales position for the apparel line in January of 2014. So from January 2014 until now, I've been in a sales position at Ariat, and that has changed over the years. I sold apparel to begin with. I was an independent rep. I traveled Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma. I did that for about 7 years. That territory, ebbed and flowed a little bit, but that was really, Kansas ended up being the bulk of where I spent my time the last couple of years I was in that position. And then in 2021, I moved into a footwear position where I called on accounts in Missouri and Iowa. That was another learning opportunity as I was making a shift into selling different types of products, even though they were products that, I had worn our footwear for years. I had been on the other side of the business with apparel. So it was, a learning opportunity there, working with different types of people, just different. There were a lot of differences between going from apparel to footwear, more than one might think, even though I was in the same brand within the same company. Then another opportunity came along about a year and a half ago, and I moved into the position I have now, where I work with our farm division. I'm a key account manager. I manage 2 accounts, and I manage their apparel business specifically. And I share that with you because through each of these different transitions that I've had, I have had to learn how to work with very different types of people. I've had to level up my skills. I've been humbled and choosing to refine, to make an effort to refine my sales skills so that I can serve others has been at the forefront of my mind since the beginning. People talk about like, hey, what do you like to do in your free time? And while yes, I have, hobbies and I enjoy spending time with my family and whatnot, I truly enjoy learning how to be better at sales, diving into how to become a better saleswoman has made a huge difference in my life. And today I want to share with you some valuable life lessons I've learned firsthand as a sales girl. And the way I've learned these is, by listening more than I talk, by getting things wrong, by committing myself to having a figure it out mindset. It's been through messy action, just taking the messy action, knowing I don't exactly know what I'm doing, but I'm going to ask the questions and I'm going to keep moving, keep going. By surrounding myself with mentors that know more than I do and that are going to speak truth to me and continuing to show up even when it's hard. I mean, sis, we can do hard things. And the moment you realize that and you just embrace that, it can change everything. It doesn't make things easier, but it definitely, in my experience, has made me be like, you know what? This girl over here, this gal over there, this gentleman over there, they're all doing hard things. They didn't get where they're at today because it was easy. They just chose to do hard things when it was hard and they kept going. I got here and I learned these lessons by having crucial conversations. Just because something is hard to talk about doesn't mean you don't talk about it. That's when you just lean in and you're like, "Hey, I want to understand this better. Help me understand your point of view. Help me understand how this works because right now I don't know how to help you if I don't understand this or if we can't find a common ground." So, don't be scared of having crucial conversations. Life lessons and learning those come from fiercely pursuing growth. And at the end of the day, just by simply choosing to flip the script on the idea that being in sales is icky, that it's like this, oh, this used car salesman kind of deal. It's not that. Like sales is a noble thing. And, by learning to refine my sales girl skill set, it's evolved into more than I ever imagined. It quite literally changed my life. And if you're in a place to take notes, I'd say grab your pen and paper now, or if you're driving, no worries. I have what I'm about to share with you. It's posted or pinned at the top of my Instagram profile. my personal profile, Dakota Dawn Johnson, and you can find these lessons I'm about to share with you pinned right there at the top of my page so that you can, save them for future reference or share them with somebody that you feel like it could be valuable for them as well.
When it comes to navigating careers, cowboys, kids, and cattle, it can feel lonely sometimes, like you're down in the trenches trying to do all the things. But I want to share with you that it doesn't have to feel that way. I joined the Cowgirls Over Coffee membership in May of 2020, and y'all, it has been such a gift. It has allowed me to connect with women with that Western and rural background that simply get it. They understand what I'm working with. We get to share strategies, encouragement, and hold each other accountable as we're pursuing goals in all of these different areas of life. To learn more, visit cowgirlsovercoffee.com or check out episode 45 of the Cowgirl Confessions podcast that features the founder of Cowgirls Over Coffee, Thea Larson. I hope to see you there.
So I'm just going to go ahead and dive right into 10 valuable life lessons I've learned firsthand as a sales girl. Number 1, respecting someone's time is the fastest way to earn their respect. If you email somebody and say, "Hey, can I have 30 minutes of your time, 15 minutes of your time?" Whatever it is, stick to that. And if you see that you're running short on time, just say, "Hey, we've only got about 2 minutes left. I want to be mindful of your time. Do you have longer, or do we need to set up another call? Do we need to set up another time to visit?" Even if they're like, "Yep, I've got time," it shows a level of respect that you're aware of what you told them and you're mindful of that. Number 2, follow through. Do what you say you're going to do. This was one of the first lessons I learned, just hands-on learned as a new sales rep. I came behind an incredible rep in the industry, and one of the big accounts that she took care of and that I inherited at that point in time, they did not have a point of sale system. So a point of sale system basically is, electronically it tells you when you check out a size 32 pair of jeans that you sold that and you need to reorder it. Well, this account didn't have that. And so they quite literally needed you to come in and hand run their inventory so that they weren't out of their key sizes. And she said, "I'm in there every single month. I go in there on these days. I tell them I'll be there on these days, and I follow through. And that is what I do. And that's what they're going to expect from you. And as long as you do that, they're going to be good to you." And I was so grateful for that advice because it taught me through following through for them and setting up that schedule and saying, "Hey, before I come back, before I leave here today, I'm going to be back at this time next month. Does that sound good to you?" And we just got in a really great rhythm there. And by following through for them and keeping that commitment to them, it also helped me follow through in my personal life and figuring out how to go ahead and make those commitments and just be like, "Yep, going to follow through on this." So number 2 was follow through, do what you say you're going to do. Number 3, the hard thing and the right thing are often the same thing. Embrace doing hard things. I know I mentioned that earlier, but it's just such a valuable lesson. Number 4, clear is kind, as Brene Brown says. Strive to be an exceptional and clear communicator. We all think and go about things differently. I mean, I love my husband. He is my number one fan, and I know he's always in my corner, but we are polar opposites. And so, whenever we are talking about something or we're making plans, I feel like I'm breaking it down so much for us to get on the same page to try to be a very clear communicator. Because if I don't, or if he doesn't do the same thing for me, we just we want to get to that same end result, but the way we go about getting there, like from A to Z, is completely different. So we have to get really, really clear on how we're going to get somewhere. The goal is the same, but we would take two totally different paths, and you can get a lot further if you're working together and going the same way. So clear is kind. Number 5, working alongside your teammates, doing whatever it takes to get the job done, builds community like no other. I know that's a long one, but I'm going to say it again. Number 5, working alongside your teammates, doing whatever it takes to get the job done, builds a community like no other. I recently was a part of putting some concept shops in 21 doors back this fall, and we had 4 teams simultaneously working within a 2-week period to put these concept shops in, these area concept shops. There were a lot of moving parts. And while I knew that the other people we had within the company, they could handle it if I had not went and been boots on the ground with them, but it would have been very difficult because I was the one who planned everything out on the computer. I was familiar with all the details. I knew it was going to be a massive undertaking. I knew that they could get it done, but it would make it easier if I was boots on the ground there as well, helping. And it was without a doubt one of the most challenging experiences, but one of the best decisions I've ever made because we have such an incredible relationship, community. It was just like we rallied together and we all took great pride in getting the job done, no matter how many challenges we face. So it builds community like no other. Number 6, attention to detail matters. It will set you apart. There were years where I felt like because I was very detail oriented, it slowed me down. I even had managers that told me that it did. And it wasn't until I took a seat at a different table where I'm at now that I've realized attention to detail, it can serve you really, really well. It will set you apart in all that you do. So just keep that in mind, even if you're in a season of life to where maybe, the people sitting at your table don't value that. You need to value attention to detail and it will pay off in the long run. Number 7, you'll never feel 100% buttoned up and ready. Do it scared over and over again. Repetition allows you to fine tune your craft. I mentioned that whenever I first began in sales, I traveled a 3-state territory and I was a road warrior for about 9 years. And I would show a line 4 times a year, a different line, and I would show that line anywhere from 70 to 85, 90 times a season. And that repetition does help you get better and better. You get more comfortable showing product in front of somebody. You get more comfortable at saying, you know what, I'm not sure, but let me check into that and I'll get back with you. Somebody asking you a question you don't know, you just start rolling with it, whatever. But I was like, you know what, I set these appointments and I'm going to get in my truck and I'm going to get down the road and I'm going to go and I'm going to figure it out. And so remember, repetition allows you to fine tune your craft. You will never feel 100% buttoned up and ready. Do it scared over and over again. Number 8, when you don't know or understand something, say so. Ask the questions. Stay curious. It's okay to not know something. Nothing frustrates me more. I'm going to get on a soapbox a little bit here, but when people use abbreviations for things and they like talk over somebody's head in a group, I never want to be that person because I've been the person. I've been the newbie sitting in a corporate setting where somebody uses like 4 letters and you're like, what do those 4 letters stand for? Don't be afraid to ask. Gauge the opportunity on who you should ask and when you should ask. Get out your phone and Google it. But if you don't know or understand something that somebody's saying, then just ask the question. There's nothing wrong with that. You don't want to let somebody assume you know something and then you get yourself further in that situation and then it shows that you actually don't know and you never ask. Number 9, never let yourself be too qualified to do any job. This is probably one of my favorites. The knowledge and understanding you gain from doing a job outside of your wheelhouse will allow you to solve problems faster and lead people better. I'm going to say that one again. Never let yourself be too qualified to do any job. The knowledge and understanding you gain from doing a job outside of your wheelhouse will allow you to solve problems faster and lead people better. I want you to think about, I'll put it in, these terms. I mean, when you're a business owner and you're the one who's cleaning the bathroom, you're taking care of customers, you're checking them out at the register, you're undoing merchandise, you're doing all the things. You're not above any job. Therefore, you understand, you have an empathy for not sympathy, but an there's a level of empathy that you have when you see somebody else doing those jobs and they're hard or they're facing challenges. You understand them because you've put yourself in there and had that firsthand experience. Time and time again, I have been in these situations. One of the most recent ones was when we were doing those shop installs. There's a lot of cardboard when things are coming in these boxes and all these fixtures. And so it just so happened that the rest of the team was working on stuff on the floor. And the next thing that needed to happen was the cardboard needed to be broken down. So I was going back there. It was in a really small area to try to break down these boxes, and there's forklifts moving around. And it was just one of those deals where I'm like, man, it's not that hard of work, but based on the conditions, there wasn't a lot of room. I felt like I was in somebody's way constantly. I was having to move. I was trying to be fast and courteous, but it was just difficult. And I thought, you know what? This is a prime example of me doing a job that, had I planned on breaking down the cardboard boxes that day? No. Was there somebody else that was actually hired to do that? Like they were there to be helping do that? Yes, but they were on another task. And so I stepped in to do that to keep things moving. And it gave me a new appreciation for what that person deals with, because it's not always smooth going, Just never let yourself be too qualified to do any job. And number 10, operate by the golden rule. Treat others the way you want to be treated. I feel like that should go without saying, but the longer I'm in this sales role, I've seen a lot of good out there. There are so many people that operate with a level of integrity. They do the right thing, even when it's hard. But there's some people that I'm like, have they never heard of the golden rule? Like, would they want somebody treating them the way they're treating others right now? So I just encourage you, above all, operate by the golden rule. When something's in question, think about it. How would I want that person to treat me in this situation? And if that means you have to sit on your hands for a minute and not respond to the email, if it means you don't take the call in that moment, make the decision. Just take a pause and operate by the golden rule. All right, those are my top 10 valuable lessons I've learned firsthand as a sales girl. And just want to wrap this up by saying, when you persuade for good, the art of selling does not carry a negative connotation. Instead, you have the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of others with the service or the product that you provide. My relentless pursuit of growing my sales skills in order to serve others has translated into life skills that give me the confidence I need in other areas of my life. And that, friend, that confidence, that's what I want for you too. So let me know, was this helpful? Do you have a friend that might enjoy this episode? And if so, would you do me a solid and share this podcast with them, please? Your word of mouth and the reviews that you leave truly make a difference. And I'm just so grateful that you choose to spend time with me. Thank you, friend. Have an amazing week.
Thank you for spending your time with me on the Cowgirl Confessions podcast. I'm so glad y'all stopped by. If you could take a moment to share this episode and tag us on social media, I'd be happier than a cowgirl in a sea of buy one, get one vintage turquoise. Subscribe to make sure you don't miss an episode. New episodes will be released bi-monthly. Please leave us a review if you feel so led by going to iTunes. Your feedback will really help us breed the idea of grabbing life by the horns with a cowgirl state of mind into women across the globe. Some that may have never even had the privilege to throw their leg over a horse, but could most certainly use the cowgirl state of mind while navigating life. Thanks again, y'all. Until next time, keep pursuing your dreams with that all go and no woe mentality. Remember, you're writing a story that's worth saddling up for, sister.